Namaste. Manu Dharma Shastra is the first code of law that mankind had. Manu, who gave the Dharma Shastras, may be called as the father of code of law and father of jurisprudence. Manu Dharma Shastra is the code of law followed in Bharatavarsha since ages, starting from Satya Yuga. The Manu Dharma Shastra code of law traveled through Treta Yuga, the Dwapara Yuga, and now in Kali Yuga also. What is said in Manu Dharma Shastra stands as universal jurisprudence, and what is said in Manu Dharma Shastra is reflected in our IPC, Indian Penal Code, which is now revised as the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. The Code of Criminal Procedures, which is BNSS today, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita. The revised version of Indian Evidence Act, which is Bharatiya Sakshya Adhinayam, the Code of Civil Procedures and Jurisprudence. Manusmriti is the ancient Indian legal system and jurisprudence. Let us see how this ancient Indian legal system and jurisprudence of Manu Dharma Shastra is applicable in today's legal system and jurisprudence. What I am going to tell now, kindly simultaneously relate it to today's existing codes of law in Bharat under the Constitution of India. Founded on the principles of natural justice called Dharma, Manusmriti talks about the Bharatiya jurisprudence, founded based on the rule of law. The king was supposed to place himself under the law. And that's why we have the practice of the king holding the Sengol, which is the scepter. The Sengol or the scepter is the symbolism of law, and the king places himself under this law. The king holding the scepter or the Sengol conveys the message to the citizens, the people, that even the king is under the dharma, the rule of law. And although he is the king or the judge, he abides by the law, and law is applicable to the king, who is also the judge, and the subjects, the people also. Symbolizing this great aspect of Manu Dharma Shastra and the universal jurisprudence, that even the king is under the law, the rule of law. The Honorable Prime Minister of Bharat, Shri Narendra Modi ji, placed the Sengol in the Parliament House, which conveys that whether it be the Prime Minister or the President or the common citizens, everyone are equal and they are all under the rule of law. And what governs our Bharat today is the Constitution of India. The king's rights and obligations. Manu Dharma Shastra conveys the king's rights and obligations to govern or rule on the terms that he fulfills his duties towards the people as per the sacred laws. The king, according to Manusmriti, has to enter the court of justice in a dignified demeanor. And that's what we see today also. We see the honorable judges entering the court hall in a dignified demeanor. And this is said in the first verse of the 8th chapter, that the king has to enter the court of justice in a dignified demeanor along with his learned council of ministers. Generally 3 ministers will be accompanying the king. Manu Dharma Shastra gives certain basic requirements of the king as a judge, and they are 8 in number. So what are the requirements of the king as a judge? A king is supposed to perform his duties as laid down in the sacred laws. The sacred laws are the Vedas and the Dharma Shastras. Second point is the requirement is that the king, as a judge, must study the sacred laws, the Vedas and sciences to deliver his judgment. And this aspect was in existence even during the time of the Cholas, where in the Uttaramerur inscriptions we find that where the Kuda Volai system of democratic choosing of the representatives of the people was held. That is, the elections in the democratic manner was held during the time of the Cholas. There was a certain requirement that the candidates who who contest as the representatives of the people should be well versed in any of the Vedas or the Dharma Shastras or Puranas or Itihasas. So even in Tamil Nadu, this aspect of Manu Dharma Shastra was followed. Third requirement is that the duty of the king is to protect his subjects. Fourth, the king must not use his power to oppress the people. Fifth, the duty of the king is to punish the wrongdoers and wicked ones who are harmful to the society, the people, and the Rajya. Rajya means the kingdom or the country in today's context. Sixth requirement, as said by Manu Dharma Shastra, is that the king must decide lawsuits by himself and render justice. If he is not able to attend to a certain case, he should hand it over to be dealt with by some able minister who is well versed in the subject and well versed in the sacred laws also, so that justice is not deviated when the responsibility is handed over to someone else. The seventh requirement is that the king can consult his learned council of ministers who are well versed in sacred laws before deciding the judgment of the case. And the eighth and the final point is that the aggrieved subject approaches the king for redressal, and the king must address the grievance with proper investigation, followed by pronouncement of judgment in accordance to the sacred laws, with appropriate punishment to the guilty and justice for the victim. Now, according to Manu Dharma Shastra, the king deals with both civil and criminal cases, as what we have in today's legal system also. 18 major titles of law are listed in Manu Dharma Shastra, which mandates the king to deal with and render justice based on the directions drawn from the local usage and the institutions of sacred laws. In today's context, the institutions of sacred laws would be the Constitution of India, and the local usage will be the other special laws and the customs and traditions. The various titles of law are described in chapter 8 of the Manu Dharma Shastra. The order of the 18 titles of law which give rise to lawsuits in the world are listed in chapter 8 verses 4, 5, 6 and 7. And they are non-payment of debts, deposit and pledge, sale without ownership, concerns among partners, and resumption of gifts, non-payment of wages, non-performance of agreements, rescission of sale and purchase, disputes between owner and his servants, dispute regarding boundaries, assault, defamation, theft, robbery, violence, adultery, then duties of man and wife, partition of inheritance, and gambling and betting. So these are all the 18 major titles of law, and the king looks into the facts of the cases, makes proper inquiry, allows both the parties to explain, summon the witness wherever needed and question them, investigates, and then gives his final judgment. This is what we find in today's Code of Criminal Procedures, the CRPC, which is today's, the revised form is the BNSS, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita. If the plaintiff, who is the victim and took the matter in dispute or grievance to the court, remains silent or he does not speak, he is given the corporal punishment or charged a fine as per the directions or in the sacred law. And this is said in the 58th verse of the 8th chapter. Similarly, if the defendant within 3 fortnights does not plead on the accusation, is said to have lost his cause. This is again said in the 58th verse of the 8th chapter. This is exactly what we have it in today's court procedures also, whereby the written statement has to be filed by the defendant within 30 days time. And if he does not submit any written statement pleading on the accusation, the court may deliver the ex parte orders. Now, regarding punishment, 4 modes of dand or punishments are recommended in Manu Dharma Shastra for the guilty, and these 4 modes of dand or punishment, as said in Manu Dharma Shastra, can be found in the Indian Penal Code and the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita also. Now, Manu Dharma Shastra regarding the 4 punishments, the dand, is said in a sloka in the 129th verse of the 8th chapter, and the sloka goes thus. The sloka is as follows. Vagadandam pratamam kurya digadandam tadantaram tritiyam dhanadandam tu vadadandamataha param. This verse tells about the 4 major types of punishments that the king can give, which are Vagadandam, that is the punishment in the form of admonition or scolding. Second, Digadandam, punishment in the form of reproach or harsh reproof. Third, Dhanadandam, which is the punishment in the form of fine or penalty. And fourth is Vadadandam, which is the corporal punishment including death penalty. And all these 4 types of dand or punishment, as said in Manu Dharma Shastra, can be found in today's Indian Penal Code, which is and its revised form, the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita also. In the 126th verse of the 8th chapter, Manu Smriti gives the essential ingredients that the king has to take into consideration before pronouncing his punishment. The ingredients are, first is the motive, which in today's legal terms we call it as mens rea. Second ingredient is the time and place of offense. Third ingredient is the ability of the offender to commit the offense, which in today's terms we call it as actus reus. And the fourth ingredient is the nature of the crime. All these 4 essential ingredients, which are said in the Manu Dharma Shastra, can be well found as the major 4 essential ingredients of offense or a crime, which we find it in the Indian Penal Code and the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita also. Now, punishment of the guilty was considered in Manu Smriti as the essential element in maintaining law and order of the land and making one refrain from doing wrong to others. However, punishment according to Manu Dharma should not be given as a revenge, but for the sake of the welfare of all. Therefore, rendering of justice was considered as one of the main dharmas in Manu Smriti, which the king has to do dedicatedly as per the sacred laws. The king was aware that if he delivers unjust punishment, he may have to face loss of fame, loss of reputation, and loss of heaven after his death. And this can be found in verse 127 of the 8th chapter. That is, if the king punishes an innocent and acquits the actual offender, It is not only that the king faced infamy, but he also goes to hell after death. And this is, again, we find it in verse 128 of the 8th chapter. So, the quotes of Manusmriti clearly show the emphasis of ancient Bharatiya Dharma on the creation and deliverance of exalted level of jurisprudence to the rendering of justice in the legal system. The rights of the victim is given consideration. Wrongdoers are punished based on the gravity of the crime and other factors. According punishments was also made on ethical formula. Ultimately, the duty of the king was to maintain welfare of the people, render them justice, and keep them happy and contented. Therefore, Manu Dharma Shastra can be said to be the first code of law, the first jurisprudence. And Manu, who gave the Manu Dharma Shastra, is the father of jurisprudence and the code of law.